Hey guys, just a quick snippet of information in relation to automatic transmission temps. So I like to put the stats right in front of you so you can see it. The engine's been running 38 minutes. It's 8:40 AM. Current outside temperature 9 degrees. And just want to tell you something about these automatic transmissions. You look at it, coolant temp, beautiful, 85. 105, that's ATF. For those that want to know, EGT's exhaust gas temperature, there's 3 sensors. I think that's the furthest one of those, so probably the hottest one. It'll be cooling down because I've just pulled on the side of the road to do this video. The DPF on 46, that's the count. It counts up to 100 and then it does a burn about every 300 Ks. So, some feedback, right? 2019, late 2019, 1GD FTV, just over 30,000 Ks on the clock. Let's have a look for you. Like we said, we like to show you the real information. 32,364, there it is, right? So, at the end of the day, you can see the transmission cooling down, and you'll see it cool down fast. That's what happens once you pull over and put it in park. Because of course the coolant is running through, the transmission oil is running through the coolant. So I suppose a bit of an explanation video as well, not just what's going on and why we believe it's not so good or why it's bad, or maybe it's not that bad. And by the way, I'm not recommending you buy one of these scan gauges, pretty ugly, old school, whatever, but that's the tool at the moment that we've got. It's an old one that we're using to monitor these things. But what I wanted to show you is how quickly that transmission temperature. So there's going to be questions. Put the questions in the comments, no problem, and stay tuned for the next videos as where you'll see the information. And of course, go back and check our other videos. And remember, we've got 2 YouTube channels. Today we're going to be doing a review on our vehicle setup, and it's going to be on our touring channel, Touring Australia, 4x4 Touring Australia. Okay, so we've got 85-degree coolant temperature. Okay, that's awesome. We've got the transmission oil running through that system to get it up to temperature, and of course to cool it down. Bit of a throat thing this morning, you get that. So 85 degrees, that may drop to sort of, what's keeping that up to 85 is probably partially that coolant that's was up to 108 is what I saw before I pulled over. Admittedly, it's slightly uphill, but it's only slightly uphill. This is a very light, minimal modification GX, okay? No tow bar. I'm in the vehicle on my own. It's not very heavy. It's about 2.5 ton, okay? It's supposedly got more torque and more power than the 1KD FTV. We drive a lot of these guys. This is what we work on. This is what we specialize in. Our 120 Prado with a 1KD engine, the 5-speed auto, certainly holds converter lock and keeps the transmission temps down really well. In comparison, that would be about 70 degrees. On a cool morning, we can drive for an hour and it doesn't go beyond 60 to 70 degrees. If we give it a hard time and it's a warmer day, yeah, it gets up to coolant temp, the 83 to 85 pretty quick. And usually, most driving, it's going to hover east side of that. If we're highway speed 100, 110, the converter's generally locked. Therefore, the transmission oil is flowing through the tank in the radiator, and it's kind of bringing it up to the coolant temp, 80, 85, 86 on the highway, but you've also got air on the pan cooling it down. And the combination of those two usually has it around the 78 degrees, which is just ideal. We don't want it running cold, we don't want it running hot. Just watch it if you've got a transmission cooler in cool climates, because the thing's not warming up. If they wanted to run cold, they would have had a standalone transmission cooler without running it through the radiator, right? They want it to operating temperature. Now, what's going on here is, I'll give you an example. So 10 minutes into the drive, I'm driving in a 60 or 70 zone, I think it was 70, virtually flat ground, and I came to an overpass going over a freeway, and that incline, typical incline, this vehicle was holding converter lock at 70 Ks. I think it was in 5th gear. It wasn't in 4th, because just at the top of the hill I popped it across into 4th and it changed. So it was definitely converter lock, because you know, you need to look at the revs to work out what gear and when the converter's locked or not. We've discussed it in other videos. You have to have a look at those. Search transmission, how to drive right, converter. Just put word like converter and watch those videos where I talk about stuff like that to help you understand. But what's happening is, it's really cool under 100 Ks. Let's say the 70, 80, 90 Ks, it'll hold converter lock in 4th, it'll hold it in 5th, and I reckon, I'm not sure if it's held it in 6th at speeds close to 100, and you can actually feel that, not droning badly, but you can feel it. It wants to unlock. You can feel that, that it's not a really bad shutter, nothing bad, but it holds to the perfect time, and it cracks loose and breaks free and unlocks just at the right time. But as soon as you hit the highway speeds, 100, 110, I'll give you an example. This is 110 freeway. On this vehicle, 115 on the speedo is about 110.5. So, we'll just set it on 115, whatever. If we want to speed and get our money's worth at 116, 117, right? Because apparently you can get away with that. But anyway, not usually. We're not in a hurry or anything, just having a joke around. But the thing is, as soon as you do that, it's on flat ground. It's almost impossible to get converter lock. You can get it in 4th, no problem, but it doesn't hold that well. I mean, it holds well, but when you come to a hill where in the 1kd 5-speed, I'll just give you a bit more information actually, so some accurate information. 5-speed in the 1kd is an AC60F, if I remember my numbers correctly. The 6-speed is a AC60F. Sometimes I say A60F, whatever, it doesn't matter. AC60F, right? Made by Aisin, right? Aisin, Aisin, whatever you want to call it, right? Anyway, quality. No issues there with the transmission, the materials. They're probably going to last forever anyway, so you can disregard this if you don't care, but this is just fundamentally stupid what's happening. The torque converter doesn't hold lock very well in 4th at higher speeds. Once you get to a hill, it does eventually, not easily, but a lot easier than the 5-speed, it unlocks. 5th and 6th, I could almost not even keep converter lock. If it's on, basically what I'm doing and what other people are finding, you've got to be on flat ground in 5th or 6th, and you've got to accelerate up to speed, and you can't just set your cruise. It'll just sit there unlocked and do this is done. And you can see the temp coming down. There's a point to this video. We've got a few more minutes to go, right? It just goes up and up and up because the torque converter slipping is what makes heat in the converter, and there's no reason why. As soon as it gets to speed, the software should say bang, lock. There's not that much load. It's flat ground. There's no wind out here, guys. Look, I'm going to show you outside, right? You ready? I'm going to put you out in the wind, right? Not a breath, okay? So, there you go, windows down. We're on the side of a dirt road out in the bush, not a breath of wind. There hasn't been any wind all day. It's 9 degrees, you couldn't get better temperatures. I'd hate to see what was happening if I had a tow bar, a caravan, a boat, and I didn't have something monitoring the transmission temperature. Now, I was about to fit a transmission cooler, except my wiring for my DC charger's in the way, so that's been put on hold. Now I'm going to tell you straight, if you're going to put a transmission cooler, get the Kaon cooler in the bracket from kaon.com.au, quality stuff. Now I just want to say as well, I'm not Kaon. I just recommend good people, good companies with good products, and people that listen. If it can be improved and we say, hey, you should, and they listen, that is awesome. Doesn't mean they have to do. They may even have a better idea, so, ideas. Anyway, back to this. You can see it's cooling down. This system works. If the converter's locked, no extra heat is being made in the transmission. It just stays the same as that coolant temperature over this side, which is eventually it gets that. Do you notice I said the only reason the coolant temp is up because of the heat of the transmission running through it? Look what's happened. We've gone from 100 and whatever to 94. Now the coolant's 84. I promise you, if I ran this video another 10 minutes, that coolant would come back to 83 because that's where it belongs at idle. And that transmission is going to be about 83 as well. Then when you start driving and you've got converter lock, because of the breeze blowing on the thin tin pan, it's going to drop it a few more degrees. As I said, normally around about the high 70s. Now, everybody's going to have different results with different vehicles. It all depends how you drive it. Understanding how it drives, how to drive it, and how it all works, how all the systems operate, helps you. What you're looking after here is your transmission oil. Some people are going to say, what's too hot? Well, I don't like anything over 100. Doesn't mean it's too hot. I don't like it, mate. A bit OCD. There's no need for it to go over 100. In the 1kd, it never goes over 100. If I see I shouldn't say never, 102, 103, it's because I've been going up a hill in the high country on a 40-degree day, and I've been going up there for 20 minutes, and after the vehicle's already hot, right? That might go 102 momentarily. If I'm on a beach trip somewhere and we're just playing in soft sand on sand dunes for like 15 minutes, I see 102, I put it in park, I let someone else have a turn, I get out, take some photos, video, come back to the car a few minutes later, it's back at 83. Funny that. Putting a transmission cooler is awesome. It's going to help cool it and drop the temps, but understand it's not a solution to the problem. The problem is the slipping torque converter. Some people can say, why don't you just get a torque converter? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? True, but with a new vehicle under warranty, a 5-7 year warranty, if there's a problem with the transmission, which there's probably not going to be, the manufacturer may look for an out. So we shouldn't need, after spending the money on the new vehicle, you shouldn't need to chase a solution. So anyway, this is the deal. I hope it helps you understand what's going on. The system works the way it is. The software of 5th and 6th, the converter slipping, flat ground, it's just terrible. You can back off and get it to lock and it might hold, but as soon as you get an incline or a headwind or put your trail on, I promise you it's going to be unlocked. Some people say, why don't you just tow in 4th? Well, I can tell you now, at 110 in 4th, it's at 3,000 revs. Up here, right? Do you think that you should be sitting all day at 3,000 revs? No. 2.5, 2.3 would be nice. Why don't they make it lock in 5th? Right, 6 to be too low, to be down here. We don't want 1,500. It's not a semi-trailer, right? We want somewhere between 2, 2.5, 2, 2, 2, 3. 5th gear is perfect in the 6-speed. 6th gear is useless, okay? Just be aware of that. In my opinion, 6th gear with this piddly, undersized, underpowered engine in this big truck, it is, Prado's big, people laugh at that. They are a big vehicle, they're a large vehicle, they're not much smaller than a 200 series. They're a big truck, right? They're a truck because they've got a chassis, right? And, you know, it's underpowered. 6 gear's useless. If you're in a big Sahara V8 and you're going across the Northern Territory at 130, 140 kilometers an hour, then there's your 6 gear. There's your use for it. But be aware, just because it revs less doesn't mean it's using less fuel. So be aware of that. We've talked about that in other videos. That's about enough. You can see what's going on. I just wanted to explain it clearly again so people can see what's going on. Put your questions in the comments. I'll do another video with more information and let you know what our solution is and if we fit the cooler and how actual real facts on how well it works under same conditions to cool it down, or is it just going to get hot anyway because it's still slipping. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got something like that, please give us the thumbs up, subscribe and turn the bell on if you haven't, because I see again 70% of people watching are not subscribed yet. So you 70%ers, now's the time to hit that button. And remember, we've got our touring channel as well, and you're missing out on a lot of good information if you're not on that one as well. 4x4 Touring Australia. Thanks, guys. See ya.